the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on a Thursday morning. We are so glad that you join us each and every day here on the Auburn Blitz, whenever and wherever it is that you join us. Making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake, our program and podcast brought to you each and every day by the Glenda Mitchell Law Firm. We can't thank her enough. Really, really proud to have her on. It's her first week with us and looking forward to many, many more. But again, check out the Glenda Mitchell Law Firm for all your legal needs. It's Brett and Randy to get you started here on a Thursday. Faith will jump in a little bit. Randy, good to see you this morning. We got a lot to discuss. We were over at Coach Golesh's press conference, heard from Coach Gordon and Coach Durkin as well. A lot to digest in what they had to say. Definitely one position that Alex Golesh is concerned about. I don't think anybody's surprised by it. We'll talk about that. And then a $30 million roster for Auburn. And so Auburn goes out and spends the money, and he had to. And there's a lot to dive into there as you listen to what Alex Golesh said yesterday about going out and getting now 40 new guys, 40 portal guys. You lost 34. And the weighing the scale, what you lost versus what you brought in, definitely better in some places, probably not as good in some places, but it all really kind of averages out in the depth that you go out and get, the other pieces that you're able to land. You got to go get premium guys. You got to go get starters. You got to go get guys that can make plays, but then you also got to have quality depth. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about on the basketball side right now. You got a pretty good starting five. You got nothing coming in behind them. And, you know, when you're playing with a thin roster, doesn't matter what sport it is, I mean, you're just one or two plays away from a disaster. So you don't have a lot of room for error. But that's where we'll start today, kind of talking about, you know, the world and having to navigate this thing.
Well, I enjoyed this conversation. So you're not making me do something that I won't do at the water cooler today or back here printing T-shirts today.
I make you do stuff that you don't want to do.
Sometimes you do, yes.
Okay,
I told this joke a couple of weeks ago. I was at one of my many boards that I serve on. I was at a function, and one of the guys that was up front giving the speech said, "Where's Brett?" And I said, "He's on the road working AHSA today." And he said, "Well, why do you have him out there on the road?" I said, "Why do I have him?" I said, "I work for that guy. I mean, I do what he tells me to do." So the idea that he does what I tell him to do is humorous. So, Brett, here I go doing what you need me to do here. But you're not making me discuss something I don't enjoy talking about, because this is the difficult part of the GM and the coach's role to me, and it's the business side of it. So let's just roll a $30 million number out there, because that's the number you and I have been talking about for the last month or so. That is it may sound wild, but that is a hard number when you know what others are paying for certain players to work within, to get the roster for that amount to compete with plus $50 million rosters now. I mean, LSU, if you believe Texas, others are spending 50 plus. We're spending 30. I think 30 is a massive number. I think it's probably a top 10 or 12 number in the country. It's a big number. But how do you spend that number? And that's where the GM role comes in, Brett. I mean, because we already know the number on Byron Brown is $3.5 million. Well, if you got 30, I mean, my math's not the best in the world, but 12% of your budget's going to one player. And I think we talked about this more under Cam Coleman's conversation, because let's just say we paid him 3. Well, then 20+% of your budget would be going to 2 players, and you've got 24 million, maybe 23 million left to work with to put the whole roster together. That's where it becomes really, really hard in today's world. And that's the reason I was making such a massive point that I don't want dead money. I mean, if I'm saying that it's hard to spend this amount of money to get a good roster together. Imagine, and Brett makes a great point on this, and I'm going to segue to you here. You got to have what, Brett? 3 to 5 of it into development. So let's say you've got to work this budget within 25 that's going to be players that are actually out there and producing for you on the field, and then another 5 or so going to development players. And some of that may be at a top 5-star quarterback that's going to demand 7 figures to get him at your school. Some may be at some running backs and some linemen that you're trying to develop for the future. It may sound wild, but it is very difficult to work inside that number.
I really feel like this topic is exactly why you have to have a salary cap. I mean, because this thing, like, okay, just what you said. You think prices are going to go down? Do prices on building houses go down? No. Do grocery prices come down? No. I mean, once you hit a threshold, they keep going up. And that's why the NFL has salary. That's why they have a limitation on what you can do.
Yeah.
Because, you go out there and every year the bar is going to be raised because the demand for a star player, somebody's going to pay it and it's going to increase their line and they're going to go. So you start out, it's kind of like when Nolan Ryan was the first $1 million baseball player, right? And it's kind of like, whoa, we're spending $1 million on a guy. That's comical now, when you look at what Shohei Ohtani makes.
Yeah.
So you got to have some type of limitations on this because 30 million will become 40 million, 40 will become 50. Whatever you said about Texas and Ohio State and those, they started this.
LSU.
And now, LSU is up there with them.
In the mix right now, yep.
So what's Auburn going to do? Dump 20 more million in to get to the very top? I mean, everybody would like – this is what I was saying yesterday. Everybody would like to have an unlimited budget.
Yeah.
If you had an unlimited budget, you could go out and get whoever the heck you wanted to. There are no restrictions, and everybody's happier than a pig. And you know what? That ain't life, man. And so 30 million is a lot of money. But now we're talking about, well, we only have 30 million. Well, I mean, when is this thing ever going to stop? And like you said, it's about figuring out if you put this much toward this player and this much toward this player, this is really what you're working toward.
Yep.
This is really all you got left to distribute amongst the rest of your roster. And you've got to be, I said this yesterday, you got to be an outstanding evaluator.
Yes.
And so we'll dive into some things that Coach Golesh said yesterday, but to the point of, and Taylor Corn was sitting beside me yesterday, and she asked a question about how do you approach high school players in their house, the top 4 and 5-star guys that have in their mind expectations to come in and play immediately.
Yes.
How do you talk to them?
Great question.
How do you talk to them and manage that situation coming in versus, what you do with guys coming out of the portal? And that's a question we've talked about on here a bunch because you can't just ignore the high school guys. You can't just say, I'm going to go out and fill my roster with portal guys every year. That doesn't work either. And I thought his answer was outstanding. He said, you just have to be upfront and honest and transparent and hope that they believe what you're saying and give them reason to believe. Because he said, if you fill them full of lies and falsehoods and they come here, and they tell everybody, well, that guy's full of crap. He said all this to me. And then the parents go, well, they say he sat right in my living room and said that to me. And then it didn't come to fruition. So he said, you just got to tell them, like, look, man, it's hard to start in this league as somebody coming out of high school at 18 years old, unless you are superior. And he said, even if you're superior, you got to put in the work to get out there. He said, so, man, there is no right answer to that.
No, I don't think there is. And it's the reason that I've stood on the soapbox for a while now that I have no clue how you can make a 5-star plus quarterback work in today's system getting them out of the high school ranks. I think it's better suited for that guy to go and play at a Troy or a Jack State or somewhere where he is going to be developed and playing. Brett, it's so funny, we don't recreate the wheel really in anything. you know, you can look and see at the reasons they do certain things in professional sports, and we're moving and we're already there to a professional sport. Um, if there's reasons they have minor league teams in baseball, it's because they can't spend dead money with a salary cap on
There's a
players
reason they have a farm system.
that they're put them there, and that doesn't count towards whatever money they want to spend as an organization on that farm system. Doesn't go towards any type of salary cap situation that these professional sports work under. The same with the soccer setup. Football's not that way because you have practice squad that you can work through, but that's also not numbers that you're necessarily showing.
Well,
But
I think Ed brings, not to cut you off, Franny, I
No,
think
you're
Ed
good.
brings up a good point right over here, and it's something that you and I can attribute to what we do with AHSA. But I want to talk about some comments Mr. Albee had. The famous YouTuber, Mr. Beast, I think everybody knows who that is.
Yes.
Willing to give East Carolina $100 million for NIL.
Well, let me tell you why, though, because it's brilliant. Have you watched the documentary over in England on the soccer club that's gone from the third tier? Justin helped me out on it. That is a phenomenon. Eyeballs, huge response. If Justin's watching, he can tell me it's a massive success. Well, all it is, you know, a group of investors that have put that type of money towards something, and it's nowhere near that number, but they're building something. And now there is a built-in fan base. There's a lot of eyeballs. There's money being generated. Imagine if Mr. Beast,
Rick Sam on YouTube.
imagine if Mr. Beast is as good as he is marketing and working the media junkets. He's going to create so many eyeballs around that $100 million that he spends to East Carolina University. I'm not saying he gets all of it back, but there's ways to get that back on the back end if you spend it. And who cares if he doesn't get it all back? He's a 30-year-old plus. He's a 30-year-old billionaire that's made his money being a massive social media.
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, he don't care that he gets anything back off that. He's just going to now infuse East Carolina with money they've never even thought about.
But he's smart enough, and I can see the angle to get some money back on that back end.
Yeah, he'll get money back. I just don't think that's really why he's doing it. I think the reason he's doing it, he's like the guy at Texas Tech and some of the guys at Indiana now. They're like, hey, you know what? I got money to burn. That's my school. Let's go dump money into that. Hey, look, we can be competitive now. We can go out. We just talked about Israel Abram. You know, probably the biggest competitor for Auburn's Purdue. And so, I mean, that's kind of what now that's my point. That really kind of sums all of it up for me. It's all about, you got big boosters, you got somebody that's doesn't care. They got loose money. They throw it at it. They infuse programs that have never had that kind of money before. And now all of a sudden, you know, the teams that you're worried about competing with, now you got to worry about some other ones. Now, some people out there may go, hey, I'm fine with that. You know what? The point is I'm not concerned about who's got more. It's how do you make it, you know, conform to where everybody's playing on the same field.
Well,
and
here's my.
That's why I want to go with Ed's comment.
Yeah, and I'll let you go there next, but I want to throw one more little quick snippet in. The sustainability is my biggest problem.
It's not. Yes,
I
it's
don't
not.
know how. You can make and swing it for a year or two. But at a certain point, you look at these numbers that are coming in from these athletic departments.
So you're gonna give $100 million every year?
Well, that's my point, and he may not, but he may figure out a business model that works for him within that. Who knows? I mean, it's crazy. There's crazier things that go on out there. But yeah, go to Ed's comments because those are really.
Well,
good.
I just want to say that he said he read an article from a president that told his fan base they're not going to be able to keep up with NIL of the biggest schools. They just drop down, play schools they had in the same NIL program. And that's reality. Hey, that's no different than, I know we had 7 classifications. Now we have 6. It's like a 2A team scheduling a bunch of 7A teams or 6A teams, right? And you go, well, that 2A team's been kicking everybody's butt down there in 2A forever. Let's push them all the way up to the top and see how they do against Thompson and Hoover and whoever else you want. And they get their brains beat out. It's because they're not playing on they got a great program down here, and they built a great program, but they're not on the same playing field. They don't have the people to pick from that those schools have. Well, no different here. I mean, it's really no different. If you're going, I got 30 million, which is a lot of money to most everybody in this world. But when you're now competing with teams that have 50 million, you are having to go out and go, man, we have got to play perfect ball, and we have got to almost be 100% on everybody we evaluate and we bring in. We have zero room for error, because when somebody's operating with 20 more million than you are in a scenario where everybody's got 105 guys on a roster and all this kind of stuff, but I can go buy more than you. I can go pay more than you.
Yep.
You're at a disadvantage, man. There ain't no other way to spin that. No other way to spin it.
Well, my biggest concern with the decisions that were made around this basketball program, you know, I can make an argument that Auburn's doing more with less than anyone in the country right now. I mean, we've got pieces that are over there that we expected something out of that we're not getting, and you and I don't know the exact reasons why, but I would highly lean on knowing this coaching staff well enough and what we've seen in the past that if they deserve to be getting minutes, they'd be getting them, and they're not getting them right now. And we're a couple of pieces away from being, I think, a championship contender again. And none of us like to sit here and say, well, I think the reason that we're not a championship contender this year, that we've got a really good team because we got great coaches and developers, is because we didn't spend $4 or $5 million more dollars. That's wild to say, but it's the truth. It is reality. And it's Brett. Brett's been on this soapbox for a month, if not before the season, that you can't expect to win games consistently against the best programs in the country, only playing 6 or 7 players. That would be a miracle. So,
hey, I'll say this too about that, Randy. I mean, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way, because I think Stephen Pearl and the staff have done a really, really good job to this point this season. I think it's been great, and hopefully can continue to do what they're doing. Like it or not, the true tale of Stephen Pearl and him moving forward as Auburn's coach is going to be what happens when the season's over. You know, who can he bring in? This will be his opportunity to say, these are the guys I can bring in. And everybody's going to be watching that. Who's going to want to come play for him? How much money is he going to have to go out and spend? You know, and who's he able to retain off this roster? Does everybody jump ship? Because that's what we saw this past year. I mean, you can see that happening that ain't really a cut at the coach. That's just reality now that, hey, the guys you're playing with, everybody all the way down through the bench could be gone. So you're having to go out and do this over again. It's almost like you're starting over again. So it's one of those situations where the real telltale for Stephen Pearl and this program under his watch is going to be what happens in the all season, man.
And really he has to win battles internally. You know, you've got to go and you got to fight and say, look at the product I've given you. Do you like this product? How many eyeballs are on Auburn University right now, marketing wise, compared to previous generations on this basketball program because of the product that I've put out there consistently? And do I deserve another $5 to $7 million a year to go and get the players that can make me competitive? Because if he doesn't win that battle, you're not going to win those Yoxel battles. We probably had a great opportunity to get him if we offer equal money to Michigan. And you can say, well, I don't want to offer equal money to Michigan. Well, fine. That's okay. I mean, but don't look 3/4 of the way through the season and say how much better we would be if we had a post player to go along with Murph inside where Jovic could play the 4.
Yeah.
You can't just say that and not give him the resources to win a battle. And it's unfair for the fan base or any of us to question the decisions that were made there when you're not playing on equal footing with other teams.
If you come in, whoever the group is that ends up being over all this, could come in and set a limit on every sport. Now it's your choice whether you want to go, but everybody can only spend this much, right?
I like that.
And it's governed. Hey, if you don't want to spend $50 million, that's your deal. But we're going to set it here, and you better work toward that if you want to compete with the upper echelon. That's kind of what it is. But Welcome in Faith here now. Randy, that was a good discussion. We're going to continue to talk about that as we move along, because it's a moving target, and
It is.
It's
And-
never going to stop.
I'm looking forward to listening to y'all talk about the comments for Golesh yesterday. I along with many that are probably tuning in, haven't had a chance to really tune in and see what he said. And just the one question that you brought up there, Brett, the thing I like about Alex Golesh, and the thing that Auburn fans say to me more times than not, is his direct responses to questions and his ability to his ability to communicate his thoughts. And you can like him or dislike him, but I think he's his own man. And Auburn people generally gravitate to people that are like that. I'm not saying more than other fan bases, because I think everybody likes someone that's direct, but I really like the direction that this is going. So I look forward to tuning in and listening to how that went yesterday.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Hi, Randy.
All right. Welcome in, Faith. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Let me say this. I had this planned out since you weren't with us yesterday, and I was very well aware of what Alex Golesh started his press conference off with yesterday. I do want to say it's a day late, but happy National Girls and Women's Sports Day, Women in Sports Day. And I want to say that to you, because you brought a great element to what we do here at Auburn Blitz. We have several girl interns that work with us that you have been kind of the mother figure over, let me say that, and you're leading them in a very good direction. So I just wanted to say that to you on the air. If you'd have been on yesterday, I would have definitely said it during the day, but I didn't want you to think, hey, and what about me? And I know you wouldn't say that, but anyway, just want to say we're glad to have you with us over here on the Auburn Blitz and what you bring to our program.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And, happy Women in Sports Day to everybody else.
Yeah, and I think you guys are very important, and you see how many big-time leaders are coming from that side, and again, we're just glad to have you. All right, so with that being said, Faith, let's talk about some of our partners here as we get started, and we always start with Sensagreen.
Sensagreen, for air that is warm and clean, call on Sensagreen. They are the carrier experts in the state of Alabama, proud supporters of Auburn athletics and a proud supporter of Auburn Blitz. It is so cold outside that you want to make sure you're going to have that warm air, and Sensagreen is going to make sure that you have warm air. And when you're flipping it back and forth between the AC and the heat, you're going to want a unit that is going to be reliable. So make sure you call on Sensagreen. They are the best.
That bitter cold got out of here for a second, and then it came right back. Just a little bit of a tease, ready for it to go on and get out of here permanently. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm located in Birmingham, Alabama. Saw those guys yesterday at the ribbon cutting at Benjamin Russell High School. It's always good to see their whole team. And if you're looking for a program management company to handle your multi-million-dollar project, or even if it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, Scout Program Management's the company to do it. ScoutPM.com. Check them out online. They are the best in the business. That's why you hire them, and they will lead you all the way through the project to the very end.
Bunkers in downtown Auburn. I don't know if today is going to be the line dancing day, but I believe it might be. That is going to be the place to go, and make sure you get there early, because they are going to be packed. They were slammed last week. So head over to Bunkers. They have some of the best food, music, and fun in downtown Auburn. Head over to Bunkers. It is going to be the place to be.
Yeah, I think Thursdays are the day. And like you said, if you don't get there early, you're not getting in. The Cart Source, Alabama's premier golf cart superstore, right here in central Alabama, right on Highway 280. As you're going up and down 280, you can't miss them there in Dayville. You look over and you see there's 8 billion golf carts over there. That's the Cart Source. Easy Go, Cushman, Yamaha, Club Car, everything that you want. Tell Harrison we sent you. We will be out there in a couple of weeks. We're already looking forward to it. I know Faith's excited about getting on one of those golf carts and showing everybody her driving skills. So I'm going to be there to show everybody how great of a driver she is. So
that's right.
All right. Yesterday, a lot to digest out of Alex Golesh and what he said, and we felt like it would be there. that way with him. Really haven't being in front of the media in a formal setting like that in a while. Started off talking about the new guys coming out of the portal and having to get 40 guys. And he said, I thought it was funny. He said somebody could make a lot of money doing a documentary on this and watching how this whole process went down. And there's one thing that stood out to me out of this. I want to hear what you think. And I know you and I've had this conversation multiple times. Back when the portal opened up and guys got in the portal, and I kind of made a hypothetical, and I was like, it's got to be like some of the guys that they are willing to take back, they're going, hey, we want you back, but you got X number of days to tell us if you're coming back. And if you don't, we're going to move on and get somebody else in your place. That's what he said yesterday. Faith, he basically was like, finally had to look some guys in the face and go, hey, are you coming back or not? And just be honest with me. Like, we got to move on one way. So it really did kind of play out that way.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people expected either, the wavering or whatnot, but he said that I got to know, are you coming back? Are you not? Do I need to fill this position? Do I not? You don't get to take the entire length and process of going and talking to people, because that's going to cut out who we're able to go and get, because people are getting picked up quick, fast. I mean, there's so many people that are entering the portal. You've got to be able to actually make something happen out there. So, hearing that that's actually how it went down, it kind of felt nice to almost feel validated. There were a lot of questions, I think, that were asked that a lot of people were wondering about. And when it came to, the salary cap and how dividing up the money wise between kids out of high school and then kids out of the portal, and roster retention and being able to, spend what kind of money where. I think a lot of questions were answered there, which I really like the transparency from Alex Golesh.
I couldn't agree more. I think the thing that you and I have seen in him in just a few opportunities now, I love how matter of fact he is. So I feel like, what I saw something yesterday, and I was going to tell you about it. I didn't have time to do it, but guy talking about Hugh Freeze and how you felt like you never really got the full story. Like you never really got there was always something else. It's kind of like the kid coming in, hey, what happened? And you're asking him, where you been? Oh, well, I was over there. And yeah, you were over there, but what else happened while you were over there? It's kind of like there was always something key left out of the conversation with him. And I don't think you're ever going to feel that way with Alex. I mean, we may be wrong, but, just one of those situations where we'll see how that plays out. But to this point, we feel like Alex Golesh is very matter of fact about what he says.
Yeah, and he's direct with it. Like you said, a little lengthy in the comments, but he's very direct, and he will tell you straight up what the answer to the problem or the questions are, which it's nice that somebody's not going to go and beat around the bush. We've had that for quite some time. And I think it just is part of the spark and the fire that he brings to this program.
Definitely so. All right. Well, not that there's a shock to this. Concerned about what position? Offensive line. I'm going to stop sitting next to certain people in the press conference because they channel my question every time. And then my question, that going into the press conference, I was going to ask Coach Golesh about the offensive line. Of course, by the time it came around to me, that question had already evaporated. But nevertheless, still get the results of what Coach Golesh said. And again, he said bringing in the guys from South Florida were huge,
Mm-hmm.
And helping them be ahead of the game. And Coach Gordon talked about that too. And then you look at the new guys coming in, but he said, look, it's his prayer every day that this O-line and what I was going to say as a caveat, and hey, Bama Willie, Mike G, that was really not the one I was referring to, but yeah, Mike had a good question too. But, you know, looking at how important it is to try to figure out who the 5 are going to be that are going to start for you on that offensive line through spring, knowing because they got a lot of guys to work through in that room, and they're going to be trying all different kind of combinations. I think Cole Skinner and Cole Best are going to be right there in the middle of that. But how are you going to fill out the rest of that offensive line, and what does your depth chart look like coming out of spring, Faith?
Yeah, I was talking about the depth chart because when he got to Auburn, that entire room was kind of gone. And he knew that there was a lot of work to be done in the portal because a lot of these young guys right out of high school can't keep up with some of these 22, 23-year-olds. And again, that's just the way the portal works these days. But, you know, having had some of these guys from South Florida come to Auburn, you know, he talked about how the production that he got from those guys and how they've been working together for, you know, at least a year is something that you can't draw up more perfectly to have them come to Auburn and play for him there and really be able to continue to develop them because it's hard to go and relearn guys. And, you know, that was something else that he said was this is an entire new team. And it's going to take time for these guys to learn how to play together and not individually. And that's something that we've really seen a lot in other sports, how you just don't have enough time to learn each other and learn how somebody else plays to complement them instead of just going and complimenting your own game.
Yeah. And, you know, to kind of go into what Joel Gordon said, basically the same thing is that, you know, it's really – you really can't put a price on how good it is to have so many guys coming in that helps them get ahead of the game because basically you got a brand new offense. You and I talked about it on our little 4 or 5 minute video that we did right after we left the press conference yesterday. When you look at it, I mean, from the quarterback to the offensive line to basically the entire running back room, save Jeremiah Cobb, to the wide receivers. You know, you got a smattering of guys, Jeremiah Cobb, Bryce Kane. Bryce Kane ain't even hardly played very much. The only substantial guy coming back on this offense production-wise is Jeremiah Cobb. Everybody else is brand new on that side.
One of the questions that, you know, I thought about asking, but it kind of had just gone on for a long time. They were talking about how some of the South Florida guys have almost a leadership role because they were there for, you know, 2 years and now they're coming to Auburn and they know some of the staff and kind of what the routine has been. But what about the Auburn guys that have been there for, you know, 2 or 3 years where they feel like they hold a leadership position at Auburn and they have these guys coming in and thinking that, oh, okay, well, because I know these coaches, I hold my own type of leadership above you because I know the coaches now. You might know this place, the facility, the campus, but I know these coaches. So I want to kind of know the difference between the leadership roles of the former or the current Auburn players, but that played there last year, and then the transfers in, how that dynamic and how those kind of leadership roles are playing out.
Yeah, and how they're going to do that during spring, I think a lot of that's going to have to really tie in, and that's why this spring is so important. I was going to talk about that, Faith. That's why I think you and I are so excited about spring, is because this is new for everybody in the building, the coaches, the players, everybody's going to – the media. I mean, we're all still learning, and, you know, he's learning us and the coach staff's learning us, and – you know, this may be one of the more exciting springs in a long time because of all the moving pieces. And then, of course, you got a dynamic quarterback. We'll talk about his comments about Byron Brown here in just a little bit. But, you know, really it's a South Florida-led culture team now. The Auburn guys are the guys that are going to be like, hey, and I think Coach Golesh said when you're in the weight room and you're doing certain things the way you do them, that you have to go out and you have to tell the Auburn guys, hey, just trust this. I promise you, you're gonna, if they've got doubt. I'm not saying any of the existing Auburn guys have any doubt. I'm just saying that but naturally, you got to learn each other and you got to build. Trust is built. It's not, hey, I've met you for 5 minutes and I really like what you said. You're my homie now. you're my brother.
And egos are still there. That's the other. Yep. That's kind of where I was getting at, in the sense of, are they both able to put their egos aside of saying, well, I'm coming with coach, or I've been here. Who are you? Are they able to put their egos aside and say, hey, okay, we both are leaders on, our own teams, and now we are becoming one team. How are we going to make this work?
And look, the faster you do that, the better your team is going to be, because it's about chemistry. It's right. About what you're being able to, and I think the cohesiveness of this, I think they know that's important. That's probably the most important thing that they have task in front of them. And so much, Coach Gordon talked about that yesterday. He said, we got so much to do in a very small amount of time, because
it's like he's been saying that since the second he stepped foot on campus.
And it's the truth, because look, none of us have ever seen anything like this before. You haven't seen a mass turnover like this. This is a new era of college football, where this portal thing, it's almost like what we've been seeing a little bit in basketball, but on a lot bigger scale. Because right. Football, in basketball, Auburn replaced 10 guys this year, which was a lot. But in football, when you're replacing 40, sometimes 50, with some of these coaching turnovers and all, it's amazing. But all right, let's talk about a couple more of our partners. I want to get back to some of the comments from yesterday. So really, really good ones, especially about Byron Brown.
Oliver Ross, for all of your party needs, they're going to be your certified licensed bartending service. Who, if you have 20 up to 20,000 people, please, Oliver Ross is going to be the bartending service for you. They can handle that. They're going to bring in their stuff, break it down when they are done. You can't ask for somebody better than that, because you don't have to do any of the work. You can just focus on hosting whatever it might be, whatever event that you have going on. So call on Oliver Ross.
Russell Medical Center, one of the top 3 hospitals in the state of Alabama. We will be over there next Wednesday. Faith and I will be going through the heart screening. They're going to tell Faith how perfectly healthy she is, and they're going to tell me that, hey, he needs to be rushed back to the back. But hopefully not. But we are participating in the heart screening, and you need to do the same, because again, when it comes to medical and healthcare, nothing's more important in your life for you and your family than great healthcare, and they've got it at Russell Medical Center. Partner with UAB Health. Check them out in Alexander City, and we'll be there again, like we said, next Wednesday. So come by and see us if you're in the Alex City area. And then Alex City Marine. Look, center consoles, pontoon boats, all the things that you want to have. Go make it a reality. Don't wish it. Make it a reality. I think we're about 20-something days away from plug date on Lake Martin, which means they're going to start filling this lake back up, and I'm here for it. So you want to have whatever it is that you're looking for in place, and Alex City Marine can help you do that. Check them out. Call them 256-215-3474. All right, lots of comments coming in. Mr. Albee said they love that Cobb's. You can't put a price on that. I guess you could technically. They had to put a price on it.
Actually, yeah.
But glad that Jeremiah Cobb comes back. Glad they had Washington in the backfield to go along with who all. We went through this a couple of days ago. We went through the whole running back room. I'm so glad that Jeremiah Cobb decided to stay. Mr. ODR, whatever happened in the past is let it roll off the duck's back. I agree. Move forward. Don't look in the rearview mirror. And I think that's what this coaching. Hey, look, that's the good thing about basically a clean start is nobody really looking. There's nothing to look back to.
I think Alex Golesh realizes what Auburn people have had to deal with in the past, and he sees that, but he's not looking at it in the sense of how can I outdo what so-and-so did before. He's looking at it as I'm honored to be at one of the best football programs and facilities in all of college football. How can I give the people what they deserve? And that's the mentality that he has. And I love that. And I love that he's instilling that into these guys that are playing for him.
I'm going to say this, and I don't know how many of you heard me yesterday, but I won't mention a name again, but talked to the father of a very highly ranked player coming up in the 28 class. I'll leave it at that. You can probably figure it out. But he said to me, one thing that impresses him and his son and other recruits is the resiliency of the Auburn fan base and packing Jordan-Hare Stadium out during the last 4 to 5 years when it has not been a lot of fun to go in there and watch football games. He said it is truly amazing when you come on campus and see the passion, and it doesn't have anything to do with wins or losses. They're coming there to support that program no matter what it is. And just imagine if you put a winning product on the field, what it's going to be. It's already the best place in the country to play a football game. And I think he's basically saying, and he's talking about being in all the visits they've been to and all the ones they've got coming up. He said, without a doubt, that environment in there is the most electric, and it is something you want to go play in front of. He said it's something opposing teams want to go play in front of. He said they talked about with other recruits, man, and other players on other teams, like, man, one of our favorite places to go and play in front of, even though it's hard to play in that place, is Jordan-Hare Stadium. Man, that place gets you juiced up. And I mean, so when you start having opposing teams and players go, now again, a lot of them may be saying that over the last few years because they've been coming down getting wins in Jordan-Hare Stadium. But the point of what they're saying is it's a hype place to go play. No question about it.
Yeah, there's.
And you and I have been there for most of it. And it's like, can we please flip the script? Good morning, Michael. Good to hear from you, brother. Always good to hear from you. Kenan said, I love his true love for players and their development. I went back and watched some Golesh tape, USF and Tennessee, and you can tell the players will die for that man. I watched a little bit about, on the Florida game this past year when they beat Florida and how exciting that game was for them. And kind of leads me into what I wanted to say about Byron Brown. And somebody asked about, he's already kind of had the Superman cape put on him. How are y'all managing that? And I thought his answer was great. He's like, look, Byron Brown's who he is, and we're going to use him. He said, yeah, we'd be dumb not to use all of his skill set, talking about the running part of his game. But I just thought the down to earth and how humble. He said, you're going to learn. He said, all of you guys are going to, as you meet him and get to know him, are going to see what we've all seen for a long time. And he's just a genuinely good person that loves to play the game and gives 110%. That is so refreshing to hear.
Yeah, again, it's one of those guys that he doesn't feel that he's owed anything from these coaches. He wants to go out and play the game. He wants to go out and prove himself, and he enjoys doing it. Not that he is owed all this money that, oh, I'm coming here and you guys need to pay me all this money, which is kind of twisted in this weird college football era that we have of everybody thinking they are owed something from these schools and that they need to be paid this much money. He loves to play the sport, and the pressure on him doesn't bother him because he wants to go play football. That's it.
And he just wants to get out there and again, you and I said this a few days ago. You got Jeremiah Cobb and you got Bryson Washington. Mr. ODR just talked about what a monster he is coming from Baylor. And then you got Byron Brown. He's a 1,000-yard guy. He's done it twice. Mr. Albee saw the comments from Caleb Spivey yesterday. Auburn being one of his top schools. Know Caleb very well. Faith knows Caleb very well. That's a top defensive guy that you want in the 27 class. And right now is at Carver. Was it Benjamin Russell for his whole career until last year? I'm just going to be honest with you. I hope he comes back. I mean, I'd love for him to come back to Benjamin Russell, and we be able to cover him this coming year because, but we'll see how that plays out. But Caleb Spivey is another one of those kids, Faith, you can attest to. He is a monster on the field, but he's kind of quiet and reserved away from the game, but very respectful. Got his head on straight. He's a good student in the classroom. He's what you want.
I only knew him for a little bit before he transferred out, but he just likes to go out there and hit people. I mean, that's just what he does. And he's got the football IQ, which again, that's not something you can coach into somebody. That's just programmed into him. And he's one of those guys that you want to have. I mean, we've talked about it with a lot of, the young guys on Auburn's defense, and that you can see the progression. And I think he would really add another element to, obviously Auburn's room, but again, he took his talents over to Carver. And so
maybe they'll come back. We'll see. I just know I've known Caleb a long time, and I just from a personal standpoint love to see him back in Out City because he's a great kid. And, he's what you want on your team. All right. Again, a lot to digest there. We didn't get into half of it. We'll have some more tomorrow because Coach Golesh, he doesn't slight you on his answers, Faith. I mean, there's not a lot of questions that can be asked because he goes into such detail on and I love that. I mean, I'm proud that he isn't giving 10-word answers and moving on and acting like we're impeding on his time. Yeah. He's like, I appreciate what you guys do. This is my time with you. Let's talk about everything, until the next time we get together. So we don't really know what a spring schedule looks like. Nobody really got into that. I'm sure we'll be getting more information very soon on what that layout will be. You and I have a lot coming up in the next 2 days. We will be on the road tomorrow at Southern Prep, right?
Yes.
I
don't even know what day it is. Yeah, we will be at Southern Prep tomorrow.
We're excited. That'll be our first time to be at Southern Prep, another one of our partners. And again, a great private school in Tallapoosa County that, again, has a really cool story, and really excited to go out there and help them tell that story. But we'll be doing our show at noon there at Southern Prep. We'll be at the basketball game on Saturday. A lot there to go through. I think it's going to be a very interesting game, especially after last night with Alabama pulling out the win against Texas A&M. So looking forward to that. And then, of course, you and I will be back in the morning for another edition of the Auburn Blitz podcast right here now with 15,000 subscribers. As it was noted just earlier in the comments. And it's all because of you guys out there. We can't go subscribe 15,000 times. Y'all have to. And we appreciate each and every one of you so very much that have found us here on the Auburn Blitz. I know Faith shared in the comments about where you can find our post conference talk, our video that we put out. I want to remind everybody, go find us on Instagram. That's where we push out most of our updates. I know everybody loves Twitter. We do some stuff on Twitter. To be honest with you, Twitter gets on my nerves a little bit. It's kind of a dump of a platform because it just, you know how it is. So we choose to go to Instagram because a lot of you love videos, and it's a great place to post updates as well, Faith. So we want to encourage people to head over there to our Facebook, to our Facebook page too, but head over to our Instagram page and hit the like button over there.
Yes, make sure you go over there. We are posting a bunch of stuff, so go follow.
Yeah, just go hit whatever the button says to follow there. But yeah, we're going to post all of our reels, clips out of our podcast every day. Go over there. Again, they go to Facebook as well. So yeah, sorry, Bama, Willie. Got to get you an Instagram to go follow us, man. So hey, we'll do some stuff. We'll make sure we put that out on YouTube as well. But we really are trying to steer people to our to our Instagram. Sure would love a hat to wear in Enterprise. Jeff, we're gonna hook you up, man. We'll see what we can do for you there, brother, to get you up. We were just in Enterprise.
We were.
So,
we were.
Just in Enterprise. So, okay. Hey, and now who knows where we'll be next week? I mean, we're somewhere every week. We're up and down the road, all over the place. Hey, Glenda Mitchell Law Firm, thank you so much to Glenda and her entire team. Man, we cannot be more thankful for the trust in our programming, for her to say, look, I want to be part of that. And again, we want to be part of Glenda Mitchell's law firm as well. And it's a great partnership, and it's just getting started. So just very excited to have them on board.
Yes, absolutely.
And
I don't think we're doing a prize, but just make sure you go and comment.
Yeah.
We might start doing prizes if it starts getting more and more.
We did during football season.
Yeah, we did. There's just so many during basketball that I think you and I would be run dry of everything.
No question about it. No question about it. So, yeah, just kind of like that $30 million roster. Yeah, just keep on spending and spending and spending. No, we love it. We were very, very proud to be able to do that and have good partners that we can give good prizes away to all of you out there. So, absolutely. All right. You got anything else this morning, Faith?
I don't think so. I hope everyone has the best day.
As always, be good to people out there. You never know who needs that little word of encouragement out there. Go out there and be that light to somebody. And we will be back with you tomorrow, same time, same place, for another episode of the Auburn Blitz.